What's up, YouTube friends and family? Hopefully all of you are doing well. I got a designer release on the channel today, and this is a new fragrance for the year 2025, and it is from the Terre de Hermes line, and the one we are going to be touching on is Eau de Parfum Intense. There is the box there. Going to be hopping a little bit more into the presentation of the fragrance, talking about how the darn thing smells, going from top all the way to bottom, so opening the dry down. Going to be kind of describing a little bit more what my nose picks up from that. Also, going to be talking about longevity, accords, notes, projection, and wearability. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that jazz, and keep it locked because we're going to be talking about more fragrance right after this. To start this video out, want to hear the community's opinion. Let me know your favorite Terre de Hermes fragrance down in the comments down below and why. Very curious to hear about that. Now, let's go ahead, hop into that presentation. Let me go ahead and grab this box over here. So this is what you're getting when you get the box in. And basically it's a brownish colored box, got Hermes on the front. This is a refillable bottle, and I will say a lot of the new fragrances are doing that now, so just so you know. And then got the barcode down there. Now let's hop into the bottle style of this one. A little different from all the rest of them. Kind of see-through for here, and then you got a little nice kind of brownish orange color there. Silver plate up there. And the cap clicks into place like on these new Terre de Hermes fragrances. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give it a few sprays in the air for you all. Let's line up that atomizer. Very picky about that. Let's go ahead and give that a few sprays here. There it is. Alrighty, let's go ahead and hop in to the opening of this fragrance here. In that opening, this is where you're going to get a lot of spiciness off the rip of the fragrance, and citrus as well. And I don't know if any of you noticed off my reaction, I'm not too much big of a fan of this opening. It's very screechy in my opinion. You get two kind of fragrances overall, one that's very citrus forward and then one that's spicy. I guess what I'm trying to say is it can't make up its mind what it's trying to do. The blend isn't well, in my opinion, in that opening. I do get that original Terre de Hermes DNA with this one straight off the rip, but I do get some black pepper coming in here, and it's kind of weird in a sense. Overall, I guess best way I can describe it, it reminds me of a spice shop, walking into a place that's just got purely spices. And then also it reminds me of walking into a candle store, all the different kind of notes and accords in a candle store. Kind of mixing both of those together, this is what this fragrance would get. And I will say the opening does really pack a punch. Overall, the first few times I have worn this, I've gotten headaches, all right? So be aware of that. If you're an oversprayer, you might want to be careful with spraying this on first rip and doing 15 sprays, because you will possibly get a headache because of that black pepper, that spiciness. And in the mid and the dry down, you get more of this, but in that opening, you are getting a lot of licorice as well. And this is a very bitter licorice throughout the whole lifespan of the fragrance, and it's screechy again to me. I will say you got to be careful with that Dior Sauvage Elixir. That licorice note in that, it's smooth, it's redefined. This one is very screechy, bitter, and I mean, don't get me wrong, that one's bitter as well, but this one just not smooth at all. It's screechy, and I think it might have to do with that black pepper, but the main three things I am going to be getting in that opening is going to be earthiness, it's going to be spiciness, and then also citrus. And this fragrance can't make up its mind in the opening, so it has grown on me a little bit, but it's still not one of my go-to openings in a fragrance overall. And I will say this fragrance reminds me of, especially in that opening, because you are getting that original DNA like I mentioned, is the Parfum version here. It reminds me of that. I like the Parfum a lot more. I like Eau de Parfum a lot more. It's not going to remind you of Eau de Parfum at all, but that Bergamot does have it tie back into this scent. And I will say that ever since in the Terre de Hermes line, you will get a feel from that scent. So overall, the Eau de Toilette. With that being said, this is, in my opinion, a true flanker. And what I mean by true flanker, you got a lot of these flankers out there right now that go in a very different direction, don't even really have much of the original DNA. This one, you just throw some notes in there, keep the original DNA, add it, twist it, and turn it, and you get this one here, which is a true flanker. That's what I call them. 2 with this one, the opening is unique, I will say. Even the whole fragrance is unique. The opening, 2, dry down. I gotta give it 10 out of 10 out of uniqueness, but to my nose, it's just not well blended at all and throughout the whole lifespan of this. I get different vibes in that opening, in that early mid. I do get that spice shop. I do get a candle shop. And I will say, if you go into that spice shop, let's say you picked up a whole bunch of spices, and for some random reason, or you were in your kitchen and you had a whole bunch of spices in your hand and you got a citrus, you put it on top. Doesn't sound appealing to me, and I don't know, it's very random, but that's what I get with this in that opening especially, is just kind of a spicy mess with citrus on it. Like I mentioned, it went from bad to okay to my nose, but let's hop more into that mid and that dry down of this scent. So as the opening dries away, you are getting less of that citrus, that original Terre d'Hermès DNA, that Terre d'Hermès citrus overall, and that licorice, that coffee are going to be the main 2 players, along with the woods and the lava rock in that base. I do get the spiciness, but that does fade as well, and it starts to be more of an earthy, kind of smoky scent. And overall, I do get some gourmand aspects with this as well. I will say with the coffee note in the mid, it reminds me of a green coffee kind of note with also that lava rock coming in. So it's like a burnt coffee as well. And the first few times I did give it some wears, it reminded me of burnt popcorn, burnt buttery popcorn that you would go into the movie theater. But that has kind of gone away now. And in that mid and dry down, now I'm getting one of the dishes my mom and my grandma make during the holidays. And it is a lemon lime jello salad, and I get that a little bit in the opening, but as that citrus is kind of still lurking in that early mid and to kind of going into that dry down, it does fade away a little bit more. It is still present. You do get wafts of it. It's just not as strong as in that opening. I get that lemon lime jello salad feel. It always puts me back to that. I'm like, at first when I gave it a few wears, I couldn't put my nose on it, but it's been very cold for the wintertime. Currently, it's heated up, and now it's gotten really cold. And I started wearing it again. I pulled it out today and gave it a few wears. And I was just like, I'm trying to think of something. I called my mom up, and I was like, what is that dish you all made that is kind of like a gelatin? And she was like, oh, lemon lime jello salad. And I was like, yep, that's what this exactly reminds me of. Which isn't a bad thing, isn't a good thing. It just kind of paints that picture in my head. Overall, with this scent, I got to give it a 10 out of 10 for uniqueness. I know I mentioned that already, but this is something that I have never smelled opening to dry down. I will say, too, even in the designer realm, there's nothing that's going to probably come close to how this smells unless you're wearing one of the other Terre d'Hermès, which, you know, just throw some notes in here. But even in the niche realm, I haven't really smelled anything like it. So I do got to give them credit when credit's due. A for that effort to try to kind of go out the boundary, try something different. But still, opening to dry down, this fragrance is trying to do too much in my opinion. There's 3 different things going on. Like I do get more of that chocolatey kind of gourmand feel. Then you got the spiciness, and then you got the citrus, and then you got the earthiness, the woodiness, and overall, one moment, am I smelling Eau de Parfum Intense, or am I smelling another fragrance? It's just, it kind of tells 3 different stories, to be honest. I just don't feel like this is a fragrance that can make its mind up on what it wants to be. You know, sometimes it wants to be gourmand, sometimes it wants to be citrus, sometimes it wants to be deep and resinous or earthy, I guess you could say. And I don't really like that. I feel like the blend isn't well throughout the whole fragrance. And it, like I mentioned, it gave me headaches the first few times. And it has grown on me a little bit. I thought it was really bad. I thought it was going to be a scrubber. But I have came to bear it and wear it. And overall, this one here is something that is going to be a old man type of vibe a little bit. And what I mean by old man, I would say anybody, maybe it reminds me of anybody 35 and up, looking for something that's going to be a daily wear in the daytime. Also, too, like formal or work occasions. This is what this is going to remind me of. Make sure to know where you're going, dial the sprays, all that jazz. But when I talk about this one here, when I get in that mindset, this doesn't have any sex appeal or anything like that. So I probably wouldn't wear it on a date or like going to the beach or something in the summertime. But you can wear your fragrances whenever you want. I'm just saying this is where it puts me in that mindset. And I feel like for somebody that wants a unique kind of office or elegant type of scent, you might want to take a sample of this. It would be for the people that are getting tired of wearing Prada L'Homme, Grey Vetiver, those type of office scents, or maybe even getting tired of wearing this one and you want to spice it up in the office. Definitely check this one out if you're interested in that. But this isn't my cup of tea. I will say out of the new releases that came out, it's kind of at the lower tier, but uniqueness, it is at the higher tier. This is going to be probably one of the most unique designers that come out. And this scent does not have any sweetness. I will say the licorice is bitter. The coffee is kind of a burnt coffee bean, green coffee bean. It's basically, it's not some of those sweeter coffee notes that you've smelled in other fragrances, so be aware of that. This is a very grown-up-esque fragrance, okay? Now, for longevity, performance, all that jazz, for longevity, I got about a solid, I will say, maybe off skin, I got about 10 to even a few days I was still smelling it when I woke up. I was getting a little wafts off my hand. I would spray it on the front of the hand. So some days I was getting maybe 10 to 12, and then some days I was maybe getting, I would say, in that 15 to 16 range, depending on when I sprayed it on my skin. So, like, for example, if I sprayed it on around, like, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I got up in the next morning, I could probably still spray it, or not spray it, smell it overall. So it varied with my skin chemistry with this scent. I will say projection, it's in that opening, you do get very good projection. I would say 2 hours I get a projection, probably 3 to 4 feet, and then after that you're getting not a skin scent. I would say 2 feet. This is constantly for that projection after the first 2 hours. Gets closer to the skin. Overall, I feel like this is for somebody that wants to change up their work signature and wants something that is unique in the designer realm. They want to try something new, like Terre did. You know, they tried something new with this one, but for me and my taste, it's not something I'm going to gravitate towards. But I'm just glad I got a bottle and I was able to get a review out for you all. I got it at a discounter. So, yeah, that is all I have for you in today's review. Basically, wanted to get this review out to you all since it was pretty cold out. I've been breaking out more and more. Just, full review now, full review. So, appreciate everybody sticking throughout the whole video with me. It means a lot. And with all that being said, make sure you all stay true, stay positive, stay healthy, and I will see you all in the next video.